Eminem might be curious about this himself, being a Jackson native. Lemar, in the Jackson, Mississippi area, the police have a no chase policy. If someone is suspected of a crime and they flee, the police are not to get into a high speed chase with them. Now there may be certain exceptions to that rule that I may be unaware of, but that's the gist of it. We've seen drag races on the streets of Jackson that actually pass cop cars that don't even respond. How do you feel about that? Do you agree that avoiding high speed chases at the risk of civilian casualties is a good idea?
I mean, well, and as somebody who works in the city and has been one of those officers passed by a drag racer, it's embarrassing. But, I support that. And, because a high speed pursuit is that's the most dangerous thing, at least to me. I've been in them myself. That's the most dangerous thing you can ask an officer to do, because he's responsible for himself, the public, the foreseeable public, and in some situations, the person he's chasing. Most departments have a policy. If the chase becomes too unruly, you're to stop. But who's the arbitrator of what we think is too unruly? I mean, we're in a high-speed pursuit. It's unruly from the jump. So when it comes to being unruly, what does that even mean? When you're doing 90 down a main road in the middle of the city, we're unruly from the beginning, right? Now, I don't support a complete and total ban on. I've seen cities do that. I think Atlanta is doing this right now, and so is LA, to the best of my knowledge, with restricting officers from chasing anything. And that's because certain things we owe it to the community to chase those vehicles. Vehicles wanted for murder. I would argue we owe it to the community to chase those vehicles. If the person crashes or injures anybody else, that's unfortunate, and you should suffer those charges too. But we owe it to somebody to get that person, especially if the crime was just committed. I would say armed robbery is another one. So for me, it'd have to be high Part 1 crime felonies, such as armed robbery, murder, rape. The only one I never really support is kidnapping, and that's because we have other assets that are. I mean, there's no point in what if he crashes and the kid expires. I mean, that'd be tragic and no point then. So and that's what a lot of pursuits actually have, those questions going to it. People don't understand, but when a pursuit happens, cops just don't chase. Like, we're not just dogs. There's a lot going on in that vehicle. Supervisors are asking, are there any kids in that car? Are there any innocent people in that vehicle? If there are, you need to stop. Is that person shooting at you wildly? If he is, you need to stop, because if he shoots at you and he misses and hits the guy behind you, now we have another. There's a lot of stuff going on. So pursuits are some of the most complicated and most dangerous tasks. So I do support not just chasing drag racers. If they're going to drag race, they're going to drag race. When they have an accident, if they have an accident, we can figure it out then. I know certain cities have barriers on main roads on weekends to cut down roads to one lane. That way they can't drag race. I mean, preventative measures like that are okay. And ultimately, there's enough officers in the inner city that if you want to find those people, you can keep an eye on them. And then when they park, you can either arrest them or ticket them then. But there's no reason to create a total, general safety hazard for the entire public because somebody's racing.